Many of us struggle with finances. It is one of these things that we wrestle with back and forth, whether it is how much to give or how much to save or our spending habits. Finances are just one of these things. As a commodities trader for 20 years, it was almost as if I was playing with poker chips. Finances kind of just were this thing that I used as a tool. And it created some really healthy ways to think about finances. And yet it also created in me this desire, this like craving for more money. Well, over the last couple of years, my trading business hit a significant hiccup in the road. In fact, so big that the loss had 7 digits. It was over $1 million. And at the end of the day, I had to go and talk to my investor and just say, hey, listen, like we did everything possible. Everything that was out there I could think to do, I did it. I even tried to work for a year for free and it just, nothing broke. And that's not for not praying. I remember sitting on the floor crying out to God like, hey, I'm praying. Why are you not doing anything? And getting no answer. I think there's a Garth Brooks song that says some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. And I had to take that for face value and I had to go forward. It's Christmas morning now. I know I've got to go down and talk to my investor. I know that we have sold everything. We are financially ruined. We are broke. We have sold all the life insurance policies. We've remortgaged the house. And I'm getting ready to basically say, hey, the last asset I have is my home and I'm willing to put it up for sale and we'll move so that I can justify the loss that I've incurred to you. And I woke up at 3:33 in the morning and I heard Holy Spirit specifically say, hey, grab your phone and take a photo of your old school clock. And so I grabbed my phone and I took a photo of the clock because when you're in a relationship with Christ, you should be willing to hear and respond to what you hear, not just pray your laments like, hey man, why am I awake at 3 in the morning? But to have ears to hear. So I took a picture. Then randomly I hear, you should throw it on Instagram and see what the filters look like. Okay, whatever. And it was also 3:33 in the morning. And okay, that's interesting. Hey, why don't you put the degrees on? It was also 33 degrees. It's like amazing. Like what all these why don't you go to Jeremiah 33:3 and read it? Call to me and I will tell you the secret and hidden things. I'm like, all right, cool. What are those things? He goes, I got 3 things for you real quick. Write these down. And so really quickly, I grab my phone and I'm trying to jot these down. And real quickly, first of all your debt is going to be forgiven with all in like caps. I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of ridiculous. That's great. Second, you're going to have a coffee with an individual in your life and it's going to lead to a huge encounter. Okay, that's probably possible. And third, you're going to start to see radical growth at Greater Chicago Church. Okay, that sounds really good. That could be the way I get out of debt. Maybe I get a bonus, but it's going to take only like 30 years worth of bonuses to get me out of debt. No problem. Okay, I go back to sleep. The next morning, nothing. 2 mornings later, I'm sitting in my favorite chair and my phone goes off. I look down at my phone and it's a 7-minute WhatsApp message from the individual that I'm supposed to have a coffee with that's going to lead to an encounter. So while sipping my coffee, I listened to this message. They had the encounter while I was drinking my coffee. I'm thinking, wow, that's really interesting. That's a really cool encounter. That's really God and profound. Okay, that's great. Okay, wow, that's cool. 2 weeks later, I go down to my investor and my investor turns to me and says, hey, just so we're clear, you owe me nothing. Your debt is 100% forgiven. I'm like, oh, wow, that's kind of what? Really? I start to cry, I leave. I remember driving back, it was like a 4-hour drive home, and I just remember just kind of being in shock. I don't remember the drive home because my system was shocked. Even though I heard it was coming, I was still in shock. Now, that sounds really great, and I'm still waiting on the radical growth. I believe we're all part of that radical growth. I think it's part of our job now is to tell the stories. That story doesn't even end yet. I wound up with about $50,000 in credit card debt and other personal loans because we had to finance our life, and we didn't get paid for 2 years. I get an email out of the blue from someone that I'd previously done business with but hadn't heard from in 5 years, telling me that a bad investment that I'd written off a long time ago had finally come around and come due, and they were going to be sending me $100,000. It's like, oh my goodness, all meant all. Like it all got forgiven. It wasn't just a portion, it was the all in caps. And now it's my job to help steward that revelation and radically grow Greater Chicago Church. Is that something that you can have a part in? Absolutely. Like, you need to tell people about what God's doing in your life. You need to write it down so that you constantly remember God is doing something new in my life right now. And when something big happens, you have the proof, you have the card, you have the note, you have the line in your phone that says, God did this. God said he would do this. God did this. Radical growth is coming, and we get to be part of it, and our testimonies are the fuel that burns the fire.